Hello, listeners. Welcome to yet another episode of Courage Talks. Special guest today is Rakesh Godhwani. He's a founder of School of Meaningful Experiences, and while I would like to add more, he's a down-to-earth, very kind human being, and it was humbling to have met him in person, which is not happens with every guest of mine. So, welcome, Rakesh.
Thank you very much, Hital. I'm very grateful that you invited me.
So, Rakesh, the podcast is Courage Talks, and the story behind the podcast is my book Against All Odds, which I have described about my father's journey and how he handled various difficulties in life with a lot of courage. That kind of put me on a never-ending mission to discover courage in other people's life, which they might not have perceived it to be important enough. What's courage according to you?
Now that you're telling me, I hope I can even come close to that yardstick of your father because I can imagine the courage he must be having. And I probably got very lucky. The only courage I took was the decision to leave the corporate world. Other than that, I don't think I've done anything courageous. I'm actually a very risk averse, darpoke kind of a guy. And and I
I'll take you on a scary trek someday. I'll try and see if I can discover the courage in you.
Yeah, so you'll see me screaming. You'll see me absolutely a very different person. So I think maybe because of my parents, I definitely have mental courage that I have tightened my mental abilities extremely well. Comes with a little bit of good genes from my parents and the kind of luck experiences God has given me and a great family, my wife and kids. Other than that, I think I'm not very courageous. I'm very, very risk averse. डर बहुत लगता है मेरे को. I overthink a lot. But I thought I'll put it out there that the only thing I now look back is that decision I took in May 2008 to resign. And I'm surprised I did it. So that is the only probably claim to fame of courage I have for your show.
I'll definitely come back to that. But yes, I think over the course of the multiple discussions I've had, it is quite clear, right? I mean, fortunately, we are more like a privileged people nowadays, at least bulk of the people nowadays, that we don't encounter the usage of physical courage as much as used to be during my father's generation, right?
Yeah.
One of the typical instance which is narrated in my book is about how he was, I think, a 7-8 year old, and he was playing in the ground, and a piece of glass went into his feet and it was bleeding. His parents couldn't afford medical treatment. They let it be untreated for a month, and it kind of got worsened up and further and so and forth, till a neighbor said, "Bhaiya chappal dila do bacche ko." So the pain that he endured was something which we might never even have to really do it. I mean, they say, right, my next three generations can definitely afford a slipper, if nothing more than that, right? So I think, but as you rightly pointed out, the mental part, right? Taking a decision to leave your corporate career and getting to that zone of ambiguity and saying that mentally I'm prepared for what life is going to throw at me next. Trust me, I'm sure I can name 10 colleagues. I mean, I can actually name them on a live podcast, and I'm sure you can also do, who don't have that courage, right? Who are holding themselves back despite the kind of experiences that they're going through as well. Any role models for courage?
So when I look back at that decision of quitting and even starting SOME, which is probably the second better
Yeah,
courageous
yeah.
decision, and I had a fantastic life by that time. I really didn't have to do this. Role models probably would be few people I met in the corporate life. So I used to work with Wipro, Intel, Qualcomm. Wipro were the formative years, but I met some very interesting people. And Wipro was one hotbed of entrepreneurs way back in 1998, 99.
Of course, I totally agree with you.
So it spawned a
Way back the
whole.
Sridhar Mehta days, right?
Yeah. So I was in that office with Dr. Mitta, Rookie Junior. There was Janaki Raman and all these stalwarts of Wipro. My meeting with Mr. Premji is a fantastic one. This is my third day or fourth day at Wipro. And I'm a young engineer out of college. And there was an office which is still there, I think, in Mission Road. And Mr. Premji and the board meeting is happening.
Okay.
He was there, Mr. Suta was there, Mr. Subrata Bagchi was there, the stalwarts. And
Yeah.
all of us, like 40 new recruits, were also in the same building because of our training program, 𝗧𝗹𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗃. And I have that kind of courage that I just walked up to him and just said that, what a delight to meet you, Mr. Premji. And he puts his chai down, shakes hands with me and says, what's your name? So happy you joined Wipro. And like three, four sentences of a very courteous human being.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Mr. 𝗥𝗸𝗲𝗀 comes in, Mr. Suta comes in. Oh, nice to meet you. You are our new batch this year. We're so excited. And that feeling on me that they are as human and
Yeah.
as normal, and those
Hmm.
39 others who were at the back not waiting to come. So that probably had a profound impact on my life. The second is people started to start their companies. Intel also, I met some very interesting people, and not just companies, they started to do what they wanted to do. So I probably met them and I would ask them questions. One guy, one of my own batchmates, and I wrote a book called Plunge where I documented these stories of people who just did something because they wanted to. My own batchmate from my engineering college. I think he was in the top five of my batch, got the first job in campus, brain of some caliber. He is traveling the world for the last, I think, 14 or 15 years.
Wow.
And the only thing he has is, I think, this small piece of a rucksack or a string bag, not even a backpack, a string bag where there is little bit of a change of hygienic clothes, a charger for his cell phone, and maybe a credit card or something which he can use to
Yeah.
transact. That's all there is to his name in life. And I met him one day, and he came to Bangalore, and my son and I spent 3 days with him. I think I blogged about it as well. And I asked him all these kind of questions that he explained me this one day where he was sleeping under the stars in some god forsaken place on this planet.
Wow.
And my son was lapping up every word, and the only question I asked him was कि बॉस तेरे को डर नहीं लगा क्या मतलब कोई भेड़िया आ जाए सांप आ जाए बिच्छू आ जाए
Yeah.
and he made a remarkable sentence. He's like, no, I felt liberated that the whole world is my bedroom. And when I heard that, I'm like, my God, what a small thinking I have where I'm only worried
Yeah.
about, so people like him I met a lot. Then Intel, Qualcomm, plus my professors at IIM Bangalore and my engineering college, my family, my father and mother. I mean, at some point of time, and my brother and bhabhi. My wife had a very cozy job, left everything to start a Kathak school. So when I would look at them, I would ask myself कि यार सब जब कर सकते हैं तो मैं क्यों नहीं कर रहा हूँ.
Hmm.
And then you start researching back, and probably those were the influences, and a lot of movies, right from this brilliant movie called Anand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that here is a guy who's about,
Bobby Moshe.
yeah, and he's about to die, right? When जब एक आदमी को न्यूज मिलता है कि आप मरने वाले हो, व्हाट वुड बी देयर एटीट्यूड? लाइक समवन लाइक मी वुड बी डूइंग हाय तौबा व्हाई मी, एंड आई वुड स्टार्ट फाइटिंग विद गॉड इन दैट टिपिकल अमिताभ बच्चन की खुश तो बहुत हो गई, व्हाट डिड यू डू विद माय लाइफ, व्हाटएवर. So I'm a very melodramatic visualizer,
I know. I know.
and but here is a man who decides to live the last few days of his life with unknown people. Just because he says, I have nothing else to do, I might as well enjoy people
Yeah.
around me. That kind of discussions happened. Then, very interesting, one of my professors, who's now the vice chancellor of Ahmedabad University, we were traveling together, and tells me this fantastic story of Bhagat Singh,
Hmm.
that Bhagat Singh on his last day, his last wish was a very strange one. Like,
Okay.
imagine you're about to be asked that you're about to be hanged. What's your
Hmm.
last wish? You know what he says? He says, "Get me a book to read."
Wow.
And it's a true story. And
I'm amazed to hear
yeah,
that.
he was a hungry reader, a voracious reader, and a curious person. His
Hmm.
last few hours, instead of crying and doing puja part, he says, I want to become a better version of myself through books. So I thought that those were the inputs that came to me, that maybe I should also do something with my life. It's not just
Hmm.
about the same yardstick and the same curve ki padho, fir job karo, fir retirement, and then you fade away.
Yeah.
I always felt that there is more to this trajectory than what we are shown, and a
Hmm.
constant amount of hunger to just keep trying new things. So those are the
Yeah.
few things. And the final thing, and I'll let you go to the next
Sure.
question.
Sure.
I think a tremendous amount of luck. Hetal, I must confess that I just got lucky.
Hmm.
2008, when I resigned, there was
Hmm.
a serious meltdown in the market.
Right.
I somehow escaped it, and probably I had done some good work, karmas. So
Hmm.
I got people from my friend circle, colleges, and everywhere to help me out, and I
Hmm.
got the opportunities at the right time. Otherwise, I would have probably regretted and went back with my tail between my legs, a more humbled person. So luck
Hmm.
plays a very crucial role in this.
No, I think it's interesting that you brought upon luck as an important element in the whole journey. What comes to my mind, and that's again one of the typecast questions which I don't reveal before the podcast. We know you today. We know you from your Intel, Qualcomm, Wipro background, and of course SOM, which we'll come to. But take us back memory lane. Take us back to the Bacha Rakesh, and
Hmm.
any incident from your childhood which remains with you. What I typically ask people is the first instance where you felt you had courage, but since you're more of the 𝗧𝗏𝗀𝗏 kind, I would say the first instance where you ascribed value to yourself, or the first instance where you gave yourself some importance. कि नहीं यार मैं भी कुछ हूँ types.
So that didn't happen in childhood. I think my childhood was by the way, my childhood from a parents, family, love perspective, very loving family, extremely protected. So I
Mm-hmm.
really had a uneventful childhood.
Hmm.
My parents were in a very good job. They both are medical doctors and academicians. So we lived in medical college campuses. So we had the best of the life, which was privileged in those days. So I
Right.
enjoyed it. But I had two or three severe issues. One, I had extreme low self esteem. It could be because of bullying incidents. And I do remember one bullying incident very, very clearly. It happened right in front of my home. I think a boy was bullying me, and my mother came out and protected me. And that's the day I realized that I do have a self esteem problem. I didn't know at that time, but today, when I reflect back, that incident probably made me a lot more afraid than what I should be. So we become darpok not because by birth we're like that. Actually, by birth, we are exactly the opposite. By birth, we don't know what fear is. So
Right.
we just go and touch everything and we do whatever, and somebody tells us not to do. So that incident really made me nervous about my condition of not strong boy or a big boy. And this guy was a big guy. So that happened. But I had a fantastic, lazy childhood. So the turning points of my life mostly were in sometime in class 10th, where I knew that the only way I can find who I am, because that question keeps haunting all of us, it's not about
Right.
age. And I have to find my path, which is not a path living in with my family. I have to find a place outside. The turning point was that a decision where the only thing that I decided was I have to get out of this family and this comfortable life and find a place where I can call myself that I did this. And to me, for that to happen was a simple answer that I have to just crack this exam and find a college. There's no other way in our country to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that became the first turning point of my life, which is meeting people who said, Ki yaar, there are colleges all over India. And I didn't even know. I thought this is India, this cocoon that you live in.
Yeah.
Then I started to know more people, and I wish I had met more people. उस समय internet भी नहीं होता था, so information was very limited. Plus, your society is also very limited. So, in class 10th, I think my brother's friends talked to me about all these colleges. Then I started to understand, Kare, this is a journey which is very tough. And then the only thing is you just put your head down and study and find a way to come out. And that I did really well, and found this amazing college on the beach. And that is a true story where I actually chose this college only because it's on a beach, not because it's a
Wow.
Yeah. So my criteria of decision making is sorted. I probably chose this college as the number two. The first one was some other college, but I'm so happy I didn't go there. I think that entire path I feel very happy and proud that I did on my own. Other than that, I have nothing spectacular to report. I have no story of courage or extraordinary wow moment. And I told you before when we were having a
Yeah.
conversation that I'm extremely comfortable with my mediocrity. I have nothing to prove to anyone. So those 4 years were very mediocre, no great shakes. The only thing that happened was I got into the Wipro interview and I got the job. That's the only thing I can claim I achieved. Other than that, nothing more.
Yeah, very interesting. And it's interesting you mentioned about Mr. Premji. I wrote a blog. I'll share that. I had a 45-minute walk with him in central Tokyo.
Wow.
The other interesting part, I think you'll be able to relate to people like Premji or Narayan Murthy or Ratan Tata. They had an aura which is impossible to be matched by the entrepreneurs of today, whether it's Dipinder Goyal or Mukesh Bansal. That aura, or maybe our next generation will probably look for that aura among these people because they are more like at peer or maybe a few years younger to us. Maybe that could be the fact. But as you rightly mentioned, the gentle manliness of them would stand out more than anything else, right? They might not say much when you meet them in person, but that feeling of having been with them in the same room, within shouting distance of each other, could probably stay with us for a far longer time than any words which they would have said.
I have a theory for that. See, the modern entrepreneurs that we see today who are all over the news, the times of Mr. Premji, Mr. Narayan Murthy was also very different. So their behavior was a function of the world around them. Today, the names you took, I've not met any of them. Few of them
Yeah,
probably I've
neither
met.
have I.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Few of them maybe in Bangalore I've crossed paths. They may not remember me, but I have met, I think, Mukesh Bansal and Bini Bansal someplace. Again, they will have no memory of this. So I have a feeling that the core of many of us is very straightforward. That a human being who's trying to find a way in life,
Yeah.
but then we cover ourselves with layers, which probably is a function of where we are living, what circumstances we are living in, and the fact that now there is a lot more money than what it was earlier. So there is a change in behavior because
Hmm.
of that, which maybe
Yeah.
30, 40 years ago was not so visible and so,
Yeah.
I would use the word obscenely visible.
Hmm.
I think now we are looking at a stage where obscene money is visible all around us.
Yeah.
And it is seeping into our character and our thought processes. And we judge people only on the materialistic values. Like today morning, there was a news article of some entrepreneur that here is an entrepreneur who's considered to be in the top entrepreneurs of our country. But if you look at the company's financials, it is about 5,000 crores of losses, not a single successful strategy, but still we regard that person as an amazing entrepreneur. So the yardstick of definitions have also changed. I mean, India has so many other entrepreneurs who are running petrol pumps, running real estate businesses, doing boring businesses, which, are the lifeline of our country. Like they make chemicals and they have mining mountain factories. They are not in newspapers. And there is a world that they are. So if you go and meet them, you'll be surprised that they would be in the same league of Mr. Premji and Mr. Narayan Murthy.
Yeah.
And this new breed will take its time to stabilize.
Yeah.
They will also realize that, just being a billionaire is not everything. You should also have the right behavior,
True.
and that behavior is not just about being a CEO, it's also about what the world talks about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And beyond PR, there is a world, and this is the judgmental world we have to start working on. So these people, and same as me, right? We have a PR life, then we have a social media life, then we have a life for our company and the employees
Yeah.
and investors, then comes our family, and then comes our core. And there's a big difference between what the world sees and the core, and
Yeah.
that is becoming a big problem for all of us.
sometimes refer the onion peeling.
The onion peeling, and the onion peeling is very complex because I think it's now becoming so visible that the actual person and the real person and
Yeah,
the visible person very very different, and we see it. I mean you see people coming into job interviews lying through their teeth. The LinkedIn profile says something but the actual is very
yeah,
different. You would have heard stories of people moonlighting, fudging. This is just the tip of the iceberg, but I think we are now witnessing a society where dropping your values and beliefs and characters, which was earlier regarded to be the ultimate virtue, today you just drop it at the drop of a coin, is very common.
yeah.
And people like me who are teachers and we focus on leadership and character and values, we are going through an identity crisis that was, I think, we are irrelevant. And with this AI shaping up, and it
Yeah.
is horrendous. I cannot tell you how worried I am for all of us. I'm not worried about the fact that we like AI will come and kill us. That will not probably happen so soon, may happen, may not happen. But I'm really worried that for the first time, our brains' development will be questioned. The AI is attacking white collar jobs now. Earlier,
Hmm.
technology would take blue collar jobs. For the
Right.
first time, technology will take the white collar jobs away, and all of us are unprepared. So, people like us who see this and know that we
Hmm.
have to do something, talking about it. But when you look at the actual people, like the ones you named, where everybody is making ton of money just because everybody has a luck and maybe right
Yeah.
place, right time, job
Yeah.
mil raha hai, chal raha hai. But the future is, and the future is not like 20 years away. This is like maybe 2 months to 2 years, and everything will change.
Hmm.
I am now very worried, and I openly tell everyone that please be careful with what you are talking about because we don't know
Yeah.
how the world will be tomorrow.
You did mention about your transition out of large tech, and I know it's a bold move. Anything which strikes to you, any incident, something you read somewhere, what triggered the whole change, or was it like a gradual thing?
No, I think it was a gradual change, but triggered by two or three very critical points of inflection. One was my own job interview. I was the worst in my class from marks, but I was the best when it comes to communication. And I invested. I mean, people would invest in sitting in one place, memorizing and doing what they have to do. I would meet people, talk people, understand. And I found that fascinating. I thought this area of human beings is beautiful and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I
Hmm.
got that job and I didn't know why, but this guy said it to me that you're the worst engineer, but you can connect and we need people like you. And
Right.
then the second inflection point was in Intel. I was sitting in, I think, Folsom. There was a serious problem in the laptops. The graphics software and hardware had a problem. Mostly it was a software problem. So all of
Hmm.
us had a tiger team of 25, 30 people. I was the youngest in the room, complete imposter syndrome. And I don't know what I was doing there, but I was there. Luck. And people of all shapes and sizes and colors were there. And that's where I saw it that the Indian in the room, the Desi fellow, had all the information. सब कुछ पता था उसको, पर बात नहीं कर सकता था. And not that English नहीं आती है, सब कुछ आता है, but all over the place. And in the same room there was a Westerner, उसको कुछ नहीं पता था. But
Hmm.
the way he articulated those sentences, and everybody was like, wow, this guy is the God's gift to mankind. So
Hmm.
to me, that became the turning point. Ki why is it that we Indians and Asians have this fundamental issue when the
Hmm.
Westerners are slightly better off? So it's not a God gift. It
Hmm.
is a training program with some little bit of posturing, and the Western world does have that. Also connects to some theories of why is it that a small country captured the whole
Hmm.
world, and we, a big country, were captured by like some thousand people. I mean, unbelievable. So we do have a deficit of confidence despite
Hmm.
knowing everything. We do have some inferiority complex. We do have the best literature, languages. All our languages are amazing. but despite that, we are not able to make a mark. And so that became the problem statement and the turning point, and the fact that I enjoyed being with people, teaching and learning more at an age of 21, 22. So I did not enjoy learning when I was 10, 11. I hated it. But by 2021, I started to enjoy books and classes. So that's where I signed up for the MBA program, thoroughly enjoyed it. Now you see my office is like a mini library. This is one shelf of my office. And you've not come here.
Plan to conduct a burglary sometime.
Come. Yeah, so you should come here. And not that I've read every book. I love collecting books and being
Yeah.
surrounded by it. So I enjoyed that world. So that became very clear that I am more suited to the academic world and not the corporate world. And I was able to see that my skills balance the two very well, that I can solve a business problem and also bring the academics into it. That became the decision of teaching PhD. But the PhD was very clear that I'm not going to become a tenured prof because I just couldn't publish for the sake of publishing. So SOME became the natural transition, that I'll create my own and I'll do my own stuff without
Yeah.
going into the rat race all over again.
Yeah.
So those were the turning points of shift from a very successful industry life to a very, very unknown academic life.
No, a lot of relatable points, and of course, SOME is the primarily the reason why my attention got attracted towards your profile, and I think one of your LinkedIn posts as well. And you rightly identified communication as one of the major areas for focus from a skill building perspective. Any particular incident or any particular story that you remember that brought you to realize the importance of communication, that you decided to focus so much time and attention towards it?
Yeah, so I always was fascinated by why some people speak better than others. That was my
Hmm. Hmm.
attraction.
Hmm.
So maybe it could be my father, mother. I saw them teaching
Hmm.
and I saw how they would hold attention of a class of students. And maybe little bit of movies where the dialogue delivery and the ability to change people with words, plus maybe a little bit of my interest in debating could be that. But I really don't think that was the main cause, because many of us have those foundations that we love
Hmm.
debating and all that. I think the true focus of communication crystallized because when I went to IIM Bangalore, many of these colleges, the best colleges of our country, don't have a communication department. So you'll have a strategy department, you'll have a finance department. There is no communication department.
No.
At best, it will be a center because these colleges are very different. So that was one big thing. The second big thing was, if you asked all the people who come to a college like IIM Bangalore or any other college for, and they're working and they're coming to learn, most of them will say कि सर ये सब कुछ finance हमको सब आता है, ये ना communication skills हमको नहीं आती है. But that is the biggest problem, right? That deep inside everybody wants that, but we are embarrassed to acknowledge it. In many of these colleges, the communication professor is usually a professor from HR department. He would not call himself a communication professor. He would call himself a leadership professor. There are also cases where some people would say, no, no, I'm a storytelling expert, not a communication expert. So I think we Indians do not like to be told that you have a bad communication. We actually feel that we're very good at it. But somewhere this whole dilemma impressed me, that why is it that it is the number one topic in self-help books and it's the largest sold books chunk. If you look at the
Yeah.
analysis, the largest sold in that communication. The next is spirituality. Everybody feels I need to improve. Everybody deep inside, not everybody, maybe like a megalomania, majority of us, डर लगता है. Just yesterday finished a program with 375 students, and
Yes.
the resounding feedback was, मुझे सब कुछ पता है पर मेरे को बात करने में डर लगता है. और वो डर किस चीज का है? Somebody will judge me, I'll make a fool of myself, and these are complex emotions these days. So I am still fascinated by this subject because it is such an intense subject that cuts through all the disciplines. There's behavioral economics, there's neuroscience, there's strategy, there's leadership and HR, and there are so many other things. The linguistics, I mean, the bedrock is linguistics.
Yeah.
And then there is this whole performing arts, Natya Shastra, drama on one side. So communication cuts across. And to me, that excites me that we are struggling with a beast that we all think we know. There are dime a dozen trainers and coaches available. Majority of us are also spoiling the system because you'll have, I mean, you look at LinkedIn, right? Almost everybody is a self-proclaimed coach,
Yeah.
what have you. And sometimes when
Hmm.
you read their titles, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And I'm not being judgmental, but that's the reason this industry is, people don't want to get into that.
Hmm.
And customers also come to us कि नहीं हमारा communication अच्छा है. That is not the problem. But when you boil down to brass tacks, you can call it a strategic leadership program. The main point is, how do you influence people? And that's a communication problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I gravitated towards that. I also liked to solve problems that others would say ki we don't want to get into that. So to me, my excitement comes when the area is very like a green field, and I enjoy working on projects where there is not much of information. So that excites me a lot more.
When I reflect on what you mentioned about communication compared to the Western world, I think the people in India have that additional challenge that they just don't have the confidence on their language because, and of course, I'm referring to only English communication just for the sake, is because they don't speak very often. And now what I realize is among the set of people, IB students or people who are having English as a almost like a first language, even though they might have a mother tongue at home, the challenge is knowledge in terms of information, which is bulk of the information which would come through books,
Yeah.
right? Does SOME focus towards that as well? That once you have overcome that fundamental challenge of speaking English, are you accumulating enough content relevant to
Yeah.
your area plus plus to at least walk your way through an interview with your smartness, perceived smartness,
Yeah.
even if you might not be a knowledge expert to the degree which might have been expected from you in that particular role?
No, you're absolutely right. I think you've nailed it very well. So when we designed SOME, we said that we're going to focus on the six C's, which give us a huge swathe of land to cover. I knew that it is not just a communication problem, it's also a confidence problem. I know so many people who have very good language skills but still cannot communicate. Or some of them don't know when to stop. That's also a big problem. Maybe I also have that problem. So, communication, confidence. Now comes the interesting part, which is your question that if the brain doesn't have material, you what will you communicate? Communication is such a massive subject. There is a sentence, then there is interpretation, there is subtext, there is meaning, there's interpretation, and there is action. It
Yeah.
goes so complex, right? So if your words are very hollow and superficial, there won't be any action.
Yeah.
And then there are human interpretations which are very different, and we are in a business world. So in a business world, content plays very critical role, and that requires curiosity to read more or be aware of things, and creativity to be able to think differently. And this is why I'm so worried about AI, right? That AI is attacking our thinking skills and
Yeah.
interpreting skills.
Yeah.
Now, the Western world, because their education system was slightly different, not on memory and all, their ability to write essays and all of that was very strong. They are also suffering. We Indians anyway never had that. We had only memory. So we to are in the pits because of AI. The student community is jinga lala life because now essay submit ho gaya, marks mil gaya. And
Yeah.
even the corporate world, right? Corporate world is so happy with AI because email ja raha hai, email is very beautiful written and proposals
Yeah.
are clean and all that stuff. Spreadsheet thodi achhi ban gayi, website ka code nikal gaya. So we are looking at the dirtiest things that we earlier used to find irritating to be done better. So we are
Yeah.
happy, but it is attacking our brains, which will impact your communication.
Yeah. So that's what happened in the forum. This person asked me on the fact that he was using AI a lot. He said, "Is it okay?" I said, it's okay, but now that you're saving so much time, what are you doing with that time? If you're not using that time to evolve or to go to the next level of journey, that's going to be a challenge. But it's interesting, the four C's that you mentioned, which was communication, confidence, content, and curiosity, and how curiosity could actually be the driving force which will keep you on the edge, right? Despite being confident on one particular subject, if you're not curious enough to go to the next one, you will probably stagnate there, because there are other people who are more curious than you, are actually going around and finding more stuff to
Yeah,
get themselves busy as
yeah,
well.
yeah. And there are two more. The fifth is collaboration, because you have to connect with people. People are people, nobody's perfect, so you have
Yeah.
to
The
resolve
bridges.
conflict.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to work with them despite their moods and idiosyncrasies, and that's a big problem. People in the corporate world, the number one problem is my relationship with the other person is not good. Now I have to communicate and get my work done. So we
Hmm.
really focus on collaboration. And the last is competence,
Hmm.
that you may be a great communicator, पर काम हुआ कि नहीं हुआ. I mean, you have to decide, you have to manage
Yeah.
time, you have to plan, you have to organize.
Yeah.
And so this is the whole gamut of soft skills, which are like some 65, 70 points. If you look at the jobs of the future, World Economic Report 2025, they have really categorized them in most needed and least needed. And I
Yeah.
think now the most needed skills are ability to adapt and resilience and collaborate and communicate, which I think I'm happy about. But still, everybody is, if you look at the L&D departments, communication and all these programs, budgets have been cancelled because everybody wants to spend money on AI prompt engineering training. So
Yeah.
these are challenges which I go through every day.
We can't complete the discussion around books without talking about you being an author. And how did the whole journey of authorship come about? And quirky title. Would love to hear the story around it and how it all originated as well.
Yeah, so I was in the corporate world, and one of my LinkedIn connections, a publisher, read my profile. I think my profile had a sentence that I earn a fraction of my income but live a million times better, which is still there, I think. And he sent me a message that you have a book in you. Whenever you're ready, talk to me. And I always wanted to write. I mean, I was a terrible writer. I still am, and I don't
Humble
write.
of you to say
No,
that.
no. I must explain this to you.
Sure.
When I sent my draft to this publisher and also my next publisher, I mean, I am surprised that they still published it. They had to really work hard to clean it up. I think I have a good idea. So that becomes the book. Now you have to package it.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
And I'm so grateful that my second and third book was published by Random House Penguin, and one of the editors, such a lovely person. Without her, I don't think these books would come out. So my first book was Plunge, and I really regret that I didn't work hard on the publicity of that book. I just wrote it and thought sab kuch ho jayega. I was naive, and that publisher also was unable to promote it in the right way because the distribution channels were not that great, and he was in UK, so it was not his fault. He tried his
Yeah.
best. So Plunge gave me that insight of writing and publishing, and then I always started to, so I enjoyed writing it. I find it very cathartic. I find it extremely humbling. I still write on LinkedIn once in a while. Almost every week, at least once or twice, I write. And I thoroughly enjoy that process.
Yeah.
The second book happened because I was in IIM Bangalore, the head of alumni, and being the head of alumni and in IIM Bangalore as a adjunct faculty helps. So I got lucky and got Random House to publish a book on student careers and alumni stories. So it kind of fit very well. Then I was talking to the Penguin team and I said that my main focus is communication. And they said that big topic, whenever you have a book ready, let us know. So I said, I have it ready and I sent them a proposal. So again, got lucky. I didn't have to work very hard to, because I know how hard it is to get good publishers. I attribute it to just being associated with IIM Bangalore. Otherwise, itni औकात नहीं है मेरी. So, What to Say, When to Shut Up was the main book I was working on, and the editorial team of Penguin did a great job in Penguin Random House. did a great job in cleaning it up. So the book was, why did I write the book is because even today, I think 2025 is a different world than 2005 and 6.
Of
Even
course,
at
yeah.
that time, in 2005 and 6, there were a handful of communication books. And the only name that would keep coming again and again is Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, which was 1937. And the second book, which is a very popular book, is Robert Cialdini's Influence,
Yeah.
which is 1980s. Though he has done multiple revisions and all of that
Yeah.
is fine. And I was
Yeah.
like, boss, where are the Indian books? Because in India, you can't take Dale Carnegie's book and apply it in the
Good.
corporate world.
That's true. True.
Very different. I mean, there's a chapter in many of these books that you should be authentic. You should just say no. इंडिया में नो बोल के देखो अपने बॉस के सामने. You can't even say no to your investors. So we have a mismatch in culture and education. So I said, I'm going to write a book for India, for our country, so that a common working professional or a student can learn how I learned.
Yeah.
So that was my literature review of my PhD, not the whole literature review, but just the broad elements. And the book is doing okay. It's now in its fifth or sixth run, not like millions of copies sold. I now know that most authors who say millions of copies, bestsellers, they're also going through their self-esteem issues. So I stay away from all of that. I
True.
don't think selling millions of copies is easy. So those who really do it, I respect them. But selling even 2,000 copies is hard. I'm grateful
Very
that
true.
yeah, I'm grateful कि कुछ 5 times print, 6 times हो गया है. So I'm happy with that. And this book is doing very well. Then I wrote another book, which is a PhD book, which is no more in print. That publisher also is gone because of COVID. But that was nothing but the literature review of my thesis, and I had to bring it out so that if some other researcher wants to continue, they have my book and they can take it.
Very interesting. That makes
Yeah.
sense. And the topic, the title, the last book, what to say and when to shut up, right?
So that was the third book, which is right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
But the fourth book is called Public Speaking Kaleidoscope. So that book, I think, is somewhere. So this is the book. This was
Oh,
the
okay.
initial print run, not no more, I think, available as a print. And this is a Western publisher, so printing is very expensive. But the PDF is somewhere available. So this was the entire literature review. So I found in my PhD an ocean of information on communication. There are awesome researchers all over the world. They do cutting edge work on communication studies. Some of them are in mass journalism kind of communication, some of them are in business leadership communication. And there are good people. It's just that in India, we're just probably in a different world, which will catch up very soon. This book is that book, and it's nothing but a reading resource.
You've also been a mentor for startups, and what is it that brightens up your mind when you engage with entrepreneurs? What is the one aspect which stays true to you from a mentoring perspective? That okay, this is like a something which I have to really bring to the entrepreneur.
So I focus on the whole communication piece of mentoring. I don't go in any other area. Most entrepreneurs have one need, that they have figured out their problem statement and they've figured out their plan of sales and strategies. So I don't get too much into that. So I help them with pitching. I help them with their own storytelling. I help them with their presence, because at some point of time they will be, I mean, they'll be in a unknown place like an airport and they have to pitch. I mean, nobody's going to give them a calendar request that now you pitch. So you have to always keep pitching. Even when you're in a social get together, your relatives, you should be able to tell them what you're doing. So I focus on that piece of communication. Then the mentoring goes into all kinds of things. Like a very big thing I enjoyed working with one entrepreneur was that this entrepreneur was just unable to be assertive with his investors. The investors were putting pressure on him. I mean, rightly so. Sabko paisa banana hai. And he would just do whatever they were saying. So I worked with that person to just tell the board and the investors that don't do so much of pressure, otherwise the whole company will collapse. and I don't want to do it. So I helped him with that assertiveness. One person was just very, very quiet, and that was a tough assignment. So that person, and I can't name, but
Yeah.
that person today sends me a message that he now earns money because of his speaking assignments.
Wow.
That's like a side hustle, and he puts that money into an NGO which feeds children and all of that. That kind of helps me. Plus the general, when you are in this game of entrepreneurship, and I'm an entrepreneur myself, people start asking help on sales marketing, so I'll connect them to the right people. But I do not entertain one thing which I've decided just with experience, that I'm not going to become their counselor. I've decided to stay away from that. I was a counselor in an NGO for about 6 years. That's a different world. So the
Yeah.
line between coaching, mentoring, counseling is blurring, and it's becoming fashionable to do all the three. I have decided to focus only on the coaching part. I
Hmm.
reduced the mentoring and the counseling part.
Apart from all these, of course, you've been a teacher as well. You taught at IIMs. You've taken the whole aspect of communication to a different level with your own institute. Is it more difficult to improve someone's communication, or is it more difficult to someone see the utility of communication, or how communication can actually become a game changer for him or her?
We are still not there yet where our Indian buyers think it's an investment. We are not there yet. It is changing fast, but not to the level that I would like it. Having said that, there is a reason why our history and education system is so complex that in 1 or 2 days or even 1 or 2 months, it's not
Hmm.
easy to change the mindset of people.
Hmm.
But in cities like Bangalore and Pune and Hyderabad, I definitely see a change, because who are the people coming to these cities? They are the people who want jobs. They have now figured out that to get ahead in life, everybody now has the same skills. So that delta is very good, and they are investing. So I'm happy with that. And I don't think we need millions of people to change. We just need few hundreds to change. But even today, if there is a HR L&D officer who has to invest in a AWS learning program and a SOME leadership program, they'll go to AWS. That I can't change. And these L&D managers are governed by their business unit people. Business unit people, आप उनसे बात करो, what's your number one point of problem? Communication. Are you spending money on that? No. We are spending money on AWS and now prompt engineering. So we are not able to put money where the mouth is. And as a society, we are like that. We are a very complex society. बोलेंगे कुछ करेंगे कुछ. And this is that same problem in parenting. All parents, and not all, majority of parents will sign up for tuitions but will say that tuitions are not good. So we do have this dichotomy in our decision systems, which I'm very comfortable with. I mean, I don't feel bad about it. This is the way we are.
There was a vlog by you about adversity quotient, handling hardships. What prompted you to write the blog, and what was the background story behind it?
No, I think we all now know that the super skill of the 21st century is resilience. You don't need any more proof than this. There is no quantitative research that proves it. This is now commonsensical. The children are going through severe mental problems despite having all the facilities that maybe their parents didn't have and their grandparents didn't have. The forces coming from colleges to corporates, we now know there is a serious lack in their ability to do basic things like time management, basic professionalism. We know it, right? The
Yeah.
other thing is the managers who are in first line and mid managers, by the time they're ready to operate, the dynamics have changed and they are now like, "Ki boss, ab kya kare?" Now the whole technology is gone. So this is going to be the reality. So what I think, I wrote that blog and I spoke about it. I still do. If you ask me, what do we need now? We need a human being with a programmable brain. That programmable brain is the superpower. The ability to handle adversities is very important, and it's about rejections. So I'm alarmed at our mental health crisis, suicides. I'm alarmed at how people are popping pills to sleep at night. I'm alarmed at how we are suffering but still showing up at work. I mean, and I also 6 years volunteered as a counselor, so I heard stories of pain in every household,
Hmm.
including mine and yours. I mean, life is not
Yeah.
jingalala every day. LinkedIn has a
Sure.
photo of smile, but behind that is a painful life. And
Yeah.
I think we should bring this out as a regular feature that adversity quotient has to increase. We have to become stronger. Now, we can't say, ki, yaar, brush the mental problem under the carpet. That's not my intention. I think we should talk about it.
Hmm.
And I want you and everybody else listening to the podcast that when you are putting a picture of your face smiling and a very motivational post, it'll help if you also write a post where you are having the worst time of your life and there's a photo about it. So that the
Yeah.
world sees ki boss, it's okay to have pain and live.
Yeah.
And not every day is going to be fun.
Very true. You also mentioned about balancing passion and purpose, and to a very great extent, I know that you there already is it. But which one is more difficult to get yourself to be able to get that balance, or to be able to get others to see that they need the balance?
I have stopped using the word passion. I use purpose more. And there's a reason behind that. Passion is a very hungry emotion. It consumes you. एक बहुत अच्छी पिक्चर थी, which was the movie of Nasruddin Shah and Vidya Balan and Ishkia. Is it Dade Ishkia or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was a second one where Madhuri Dixit comes.
Hmm. Hmm.
एंड नसरुद्दीन शाह एक बहुत अच्छी शायरी बोलता है वेयर देर आर 7 layers ऑफ पैशन एंड द लास्ट वन इज जुनून एंड इट्स उर्दू का है इट्स ब्रिलियंट
Yeah.
मिल जाएगा अगर आप गूगल करोगे तो आई थिंक इट वाज समथिंग टू डू विथ लव इन्फैचुएशन all that and finally
Yeah.
goes to obsession.
Hmm.
Passion is in that category.
Hmm.
So when you say that I'm passionate about teaching, that means you're consumed with teaching. That's dangerous. You'll become a, I mean, your mental health is not going to be good, which is what I see every day, right? That everybody is obsessed with something, which is fine. I mean, there is a passion, and having passion is good. But
Hmm.
passion can also be for bad things. So I've requested everyone that the right way to think about passion is a slightly gentler word, that instead of
Hmm.
focusing on what's your passion, start focusing on what excites you. That's a gentler way of understanding. So
Hmm.
when you say that teaching excites me, food excites me, then your mind starts to figure things out better.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then purpose is, of course, a very important part. And I have now realized that my purpose is to really transform people's ability to communicate and influence. And then
Hmm.
there are many other things I can do, but this is one purpose I have. The moment you focus on purpose, the mind is able to deal with rejections, the adversity quotient becomes better. You're able to deal with life with a lot more tenacity. And it's a very simple equation. Once you find your purpose, you won't have time for anything else. I think a biggest problem in our generation is not that we are not an intelligent generation. We're a very intelligent generation, but we are purposeless. It's like a boat without a rudder. So we are floating.
Hmm.
But the moment you have a rudder and you know the direction to go, that is a purpose. And if you do that, you won't have time to worry about anything else. Then you have to find the destination, then you go to the next journey. And this is what our parents did very well. And in those days, choices बहुत कम होती थी, तो purpose was a easier discussion. आजकल
Hmm.
choices बहुत ज़्यादा हैं, तो purpose is this earth shattering discussion that has to be right. And so balancing the two is important. And I must request everyone listening to your podcast that do not be in this obsession कि मुझे purpose अभी ही discover करना है. It takes time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can happen in one day, sometimes one lifetime में भी नहीं होता है. So
Hmm.
don't beat around it and disconnect the need to put on LinkedIn and in your Shark Tank pitches कि मुझे purpose तो बताना ही है सबको. And this obsession will only drain you and burn you, and it's bad for your sleep.
I can understand the point when you mentioned that passion can have a negative connotation, or it's considered more cool for the younger generation to talk about passion rather than purpose. I think वो passion से purpose 20-30 साल निकल जाते हैं convert करने में, because
Yeah.
जब तक आप अपने आप को समझते हो, आप अपने आप को young समझते हो, होते नहीं हो, तब तक तो आप पर्पस पे नहीं जा पाओगे, राइट? जब when you start accepting your the reality, you accept that the grays will remain the grays even if you use the best quality hair dye, and start saying that it's purpose, and okay, now I'm sorted, I'm clear now that I can't fool myself, forget about fooling the world, and then it becomes easier as well, right? So you will not want to go that fast because you have already spent more time on planet than what's ahead of you. You will not try to convince more people because there are less people who are going to understand the purpose than the passion. तो समझने वाले ही कम है, तो फिर समझाने की जरूरत ही नहीं है मेरे को उतनी. I don't need to put in that more effort. But when you're young, when you're in 20, everyone, right from your uncles to your teachers to your parents, everyone needs to be explained. Everyone needs to understand what's going on. So that's why you want to use more of the cooler version of what you want to do, and that
Right.
obviously brings in with its own set of problems, right?
It does.
At a stage where are you looking at a 5 year plan? Are you looking at a 1 year plan? Do you take one day at a time, or are you kind of sorted कि next 30-40 साल तो कहीं नहीं जा रहे हैं?
No, no, I'm not sorted. I worry about the future. I have severe anxiety issues like anybody else. Running SOME and keeping the doors open and the team's lives also. I mean, I am now responsible for 15 families, and that is a horrifying thought. I very openly admit our mistakes. We are looking at a very big shift in buying behavior, which is impacting our quarterly sales. So, all of these, so I'm very anxious about every day. So I'm not a big planner. Right now, I think I have cracked the quarterly plans that okay, at least now I know that this quarter ये करना है. अब उससे अलग है मैं सोचता नहीं हूँ. Now I look back that we started SOME 5 years ago. The real work started about 3 years ago. First 2 years were like, I mean, we did all kinds of stuff. We did
Yeah.
बच्चों वाला program also and hived it into Gen U because our buyers were confused कि यार तू बच्चों वाला कंपनी है कि बड़ों वाला कंपनी है. And we said we are बड़ों वाला company. We are a school for adults for their upskilling, soft skills, influence, leadership, all of that. So we broke that off. So first 2 years were really all over the place. So the last 3 years is true work and brutal work. So I'm very anxious, but no 10-year plan because after COVID, I have realized that one day can change everything. And it happened. I remember my angel investors and the first angel investor in SOME came on 12th February 2020. And that day, I can tell you, all nine of us were enjoying life as if, ki, boss, now the runway is clear, right?
Yeah.
And 14th February was the bugle alarm around the world. I was in Ahmedabad. And I remember on 16th February, my wife telling me, ki, boss, there is serious stuff happening in China. I was like, अरे China में हो रहा है, हमारे को तो क्या होगा? And on 20th March, the whole country was locked down. So I have completely stopped long range plans. I think they are waste of time. But I'm also not live life one day at a time. I cannot do that. Like live in the moment, I can't do that. I probably am somewhere in the middle where if I get a good class, so how do I manage that? I plan class to class. कि last week हम लोग we were doing a big program. We just came back from IIM Udaipur where we did a program for the entire first year batch, and I'm very proud of this program. We reached here. Now the next program is after 4 days. Now let's go there. And between then, there's a lot of things to do and bills to pay and think compliance issues and all of that. So my team and I really are focused on that.
That's quite inspiring to know that you kind of been able to draw that balance between not living in the moment but not looking at a 10-year plan or 10-year horizon as well. Fantastic stuff, Rakesh. I think you're a bottle full of energy, I would say, jar full of ideas or initiatives. Every time talking to you brings out something new. It's always good to end on a nice note. Few books which a lot of people might not have heard of, but they impacted you a lot.
So I'll give you 3, 4 genres because I know reading is hard for many Indians. So I want all of us in India to become good readers. We probably are just scratching the surface, but picking up very well. So I'm very happy about that. So pick up 3, 4 genres depending on how your reading skills are. One area you must pick up is fiction because fiction fuels creativity. This part is scientifically proven. Non-fiction gives you more cognitive power, some frameworks, but fiction. And you could pick up any book of fiction. It could be in your language also. I mean, Hindi and Kannada or what have you. So, a good book that I really enjoyed when I was a kid, which I still have vivid imagination, was Moby Dick. So, you could pick any of these genres. Another good book which I really thoroughly enjoyed was To Kill a Mockingbird. So, any of these books in this genre, India ke andar bhi, if you can pick up Indian books and Indian fiction, there are some very good names that you could do. Like, Sacred Games is not a name I would recommend, but the book was very, very exciting. Not the Netflix series. And
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed reading Sacred Games. It's a world that I never knew. So, any fiction book from any language that you can, that is genre number one. The second genre is history. To know who we are, we must know where we have come from. I can't tell you, and history is exactly like leadership skills. Nobody knows the direct impact, but the impact is extremely exponential when you get once you get into that. And I would recommend that today, since we are going through a brutal Middle Eastern crisis which could impact all of us and could end up in a nuclear World War III, maybe none of us will exist. Start with any book that covers the history of Middle East, because you need to know why that place is fighting. And you could pick up any, I mean, you could just go to some prompt and ask them and they'll give you a list. I
Yeah.
currently am probably looking at podcasts and videos, but there are various books, and I can definitely tell you that one good book, which is little heavy, is the whole genre of historical research. It's called I think, the Clash of Civilizations. So you could pick up any of these books, or books like Guns, Germs, and Steel, or even Sapiens kind of books, which look at a long view. So
Yeah.
pick up any book that pinpoints history but talks about how we are living today from a past. So pick up any of these books. William Dalrymple's books are also very good
Yeah.
from history of India perspective, but more from Mughal history and the
Yeah.
Silk Route. And there is a podcast he and Anita Anand do called The Empire, which is fantastic. And there is a season only on Middle East, so that could give you a great insight, and some hundreds of books in that. So that's the second thing on history. The third is definitely futurism, that what will the world be 10, 15 years from now. There are very good books. Yuval Noah Harari's Homo Deus is a good book to pick up. Difficult to
Yeah.
read, but you could start from there. And now AI has changed a lot. So I haven't read his third book called Nexus, but I've heard that a lot of people say it's a great book. So maybe Nexus could be a good book about futurism for you to all read. And the fourth is business related frameworks, which could be leadership. In that, Malcolm Gladwell, this gentleman, Robert Greene, and there's a book in front of me, Gurcharan Das, very good
Oh, yeah.
book about Gurcharan Das takes Mahabharata and writes it from a business perspective, which is
True.
the
True.
difficulty of being good.
I've written a blog. Yeah.
Yeah, and Adam Grant, his books are reasonably good. Books like Atomic Habits and James Clear and all. So all these books, and the good part is you could just go to YouTube and listen to their lectures, and that's a reason. So that's the fourth generation. The fifth one, which I'm beginning to really enjoy, is poetry. I'm now waking up to the power of poems. It could be in any language: Hindi, Urdu, Shairi, Kabir ke dohe. So I picked up a book on Kabir for corporates, and it's
Wow.
written by, it's right in front of me, but my specs, I'm not able to do that. And I have one more, science. So the sixth is science. Pick up books on science, history of science, scientific experiments. Who were these people? And there's a good book in India written by a guy called Hari Pulakkar, and it's a fantastic book on the Indian scientists who probably we all should be proud of and are giving us the reason to move forward. So those are the six genres. If you can pick one each, you're sorted, and you don't
Yeah.
need to really study hard to prove. Pick up books based on your liking.
No, I think the last genre is very interesting and should be quite thought provoking as well. So a great ensemble. Just a quick small rapid fire. The last movie you watched?
So hold on, give me a few seconds, because I watched so many of them, but I'm picking up just few. So I'm obsessed with this Middle Eastern crisis. So the last movie I watched just last week was 6 Days. It's about the Iranian embassy in London, which was some terrorists went there, and it was a very nicely made movie. So it's I think on Netflix. So that was the last movie I watched.
Latest web series?
It depends on who I'm watching with. With my daughter, she and I are binge watching Big Bang Theory. With my son, who's studying outside, I watched The House. I'm watching it again.
One advice which you never got and you would have appreciated it coming from you, coming from someone?
I think one advice I wish I would have got was to probably take more risks early. I think we were taught exactly the opposite for the right reasons. India was very different at that time.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think that has crippled our way of thinking a lot. So I'm now around 50-ish. I wish I could get that advice early so that when I was 25-ish, I could have started my company, because your appetite to do more is higher at that time. Body is more energetic, brain is more clearer. So I think I wish somebody would have told me at that time.
One famous personality whom you can invite for dinner, who would it be and why? Someone you've not met, of course.
So somebody who's alive, it's Barack
Yeah,
Obama. And
interesting.
somebody who's not alive is any of our women scientists who really struggled at that time, because being a woman and a scientist
Yeah.
and to continue in a man's job, and there are so many good books on that. So between these two, I would love to, and I would just ask them, why are you like this? I mean, why do you need to do all of this? And Obama, I'm sure, would be a more interesting story today because his successor is so
Of
horrible.
course.
And the women PhD scientists really, I mean, in those days, to have those guts to do this is mind blowing.
Based on the literature, which language would you have wanted to learn, and maybe you might end up learning as well?
Right now, it is Kannada. I live in Karnataka. It's a lovely language. I want to
Very interesting
learn.
choice.
I have a dream that I want to speak fluent, very nice Kannada so that I can enjoy the literature and connect with people. I can speak okay, but not very good grammatically. And one of my dreams is to give a speech in Kannada, and somebody should come and say that you speak like us. And that's
Sudha Murthy should be your guru, I think.
I wouldn't mind learning from her. I really admire her.
Okay, last question. What is the question that you have for me?
Okay, so a question for you. What excites you to do what you do?
For me, I think the world is a limitless ocean. Whatever I do, I know there's more I can do. And so I never stop and say, okay, ye kar liya. तो ये हो गया types, right? Whether it's running or it's reading or it's podcasting, I mean, I'm not going to stop till 1,000 episodes and beyond, because I know 1,000 episodes will take me a lifetime anyway. So
Yeah.
I think the limitlessness of everything we do and frivolous nature of success is probably what drives me to do it, right? I mean, this very dear friend of mine talked about, oh, the finishing moment of a Iron Man or a Comrades is so trifle and it's so short lasting.
Hmm.
You try whatever you want, you can't hold on to that moment beyond. I mean, someone will push you out and say, boss, we need to clear this place for the next run, or even you want to sit there. And it struck with me since the 2011 World Cup. I mean, the whole nation was on fire having won the World Cup after so many years. Next day morning, I remember Dhoni shaved his head off, and there were those pictures at the Taj. I said, okay, again, great moment. After a week or 2 weeks, there were some media reports about the cricketers reaching their home and the society welcoming them with a lot of jing bang and all. And then what? You need to get on to the next match. You need to get on the next task. Similarly, the clear memories of the 1983 World Cup and the way West Indies came to India and rogered us left, right, and center made me realize that your biggest of mountains are there just for you to cross over, not climb on top of. If you focus on climbing the mountain, then you will probably be climbing mountains all the time. But if you decide to cross over the mountain, then your journey can go towards the next mountain and towards the next mountain and to the next mountain, because you're crossing them through. Maybe you go to the top and go down. But if you say, no, my mission is to climb Mount Everest, the problem will be when you climb Mount Everest, you'll be like, ab kya karu main? मैंने जिस चीज को मेरा लाइफ का मिशन बना दिया वो तो हो गया, अब क्या, राइट? सो दैट्स बिगेस्ट चैलेंज which runners face, right? What next? And they're like, hold on, let me enjoy. Okay, I'll meet you tomorrow. Then tell me what next. They don't know. Yeah, so I think that's what defines me.
Very good answer. Wonderful. Excellent answer.
Thanks a lot, Rakesh. Been a pleasure talking to you as always, and keep inspiring and keep motivating.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.